I had two T1N sprinters that had recirculation flap problems, both relating to the Bellcrank. As you can see on this Bellcrank, the pin on the left that lifts the lever that closes the flap is broken. The Bellcrank rides freely on the spindle and is held in place by the actuator and the lever that controls the flap. If the pin is broken, as the one in this video is, then you can easily remove the Bellcrank by pulling it straight out. If the left pin is still present, you'll have to forcefully lift the lever out enough to where you can work it off the pin. To get the Bellcrank off the actuator, you have to press down on this little tab to get it free. In order to get the Bellcrank on, you'll need to put the lever in the fully opened position. Place the Bellcrank onto the spindle and then lift the lever up enough to where it can go over the pin that's on the Bellcrank, and then snap the actuator onto the other pin. This is not easily done with the ductwork inside the van. You have very little room to work, but it can be done if you don't want to remove the ductwork. This wasn't as difficult to pull as it looks. I was just struggling to do it with one hand. I'd suggest adding some lube that won't hurt the plastic. I made two different versions. One 3D printed version has the pins. However, I know that there is wire on these pins and they're plastic, and so I made a second version with holes that pins can be screwed down into. I didn't experiment much with the type of pins to put in the hole, but this was one of the first things that I ran across to try that it looked like it might work, and so this is what I got. I'll put the link in the description. On my second van, the spindle was actually busted out from the housing and gone. A pretty good chunk of plastic was removed that I just had to tape over and then find out another solution for my flap. I designed a lock that would hold the lever in the upward position, having the door closed permanently. The lever has to be brought up to the fully closed position to install the lock. On the upper right, notice the two arms that holds the lever. In the center is a locking tab. I created that to where it would have a considerable amount of resistance to lock onto that lever to hold it in position. You'll hear the lock snap into the lever, and then you know you have it fully secured at this point, and this will hold your door closed for good until you remove the lock. These really need to be made out of ABS or some kind of stronger material. I printed these out of PETG. However, if the outside temperature gets above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, PETG can soften, so it might be best to go with a stronger material. I hope one of these solves the issues that you are having, and thank you for watching the video.